What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and it's Friday night at 8. Please don't be too late, girl. Got myself a date. Y'all got dates tonight? Who y'all going on a date with? It's Friday, y'all. End of the week. It's the end of the week. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. It's the end of the work week. So go ahead, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know you stopped by. I have another video that was recorded on Wednesday that I need to premiere, but I want to premiere it. I don't want that one just to go live because I want to be in the chat with y'all when I premiere that. So you will see this video after that because I'm going to premiere that when I'm done recording my 2 videos for the day. So I have not been doing anything this morning, just a slow morning. Woke up slow. I don't have nowhere to go. Got myself together, make a couple reels on Instagram and have a little, if you don't follow me on Instagram, it's not much. I'm not on there a lot. Mostly it's just my stories and then every now and again I'll post something to my wall. But it's mostly my stories. And, I love music. And so I'm always lip syncing some song. Really what the reason why I like I love music. I love all kinds of music. But what happens is when I'm scrolling, if there's a video that has a song on it that I like, I immediately make a reel out of that. That's why the reels just be so random. I be just like wherever, because as soon as I hear a song that I like, I'm like, I have to document this. I have to document me singing a song because I love this song, right? So this morning was Panic at the Disco and Fleetwood Mac. That's what was going on this morning. That's what I was listening to this morning. So I was scrolling and some kid and his father were in their car playing Panic at the Disco, and then it was something else. I think somebody was skating to Fleetwood Mac, and I was like, okay, let me play it. Players only love you when they're playing. Said women, they will come and they will go. When the rain washes you clean, you know. Yes, come on, Stevie Nicks. She's a witch. Yes. Shout out to Stevie Nicks. Remember when Stevie Nicks was on Coven? Do y'all remember that? I need to go back. You know what? I actually want to go back and rewatch Coven because that was really, 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 really one of the best seasons. I liked Asylum too, but I really liked Coven. I really liked Coven. So I think I'm gonna go back and watch Coven. I should have watched it. That should be like an annual thing to go rewatch Coven during the spooky season. Anyway, so there's nothing. I haven't been online looking at anything. Let me put some lotion on. I haven't been online looking at anything besides, just scrolling. And I did see another story. This is the second story that I heard of a TikToker, somebody on a live stream running over a pedestrian. Y'all, I record in my car. Y'all know, a lot of y'all met me from around the Panorama, and I was in my car. I made videos on the way to work in my car. But the only time I would look in the camera, and like, I think what happens with live streams, I don't know if you're trying to read the comments. If you live stream in a car, you should not be driving. You should be parked. But this is the second one. The first one was a Black woman. She had her kid in the car and she was like, oh shit, I just hit someone. And then like you can hear the kid say, what happened? What happened? It was like a thud, And then this guy here, somebody was on the trunk of his car, like on the hood of his car going like that with his phone. And then somebody in the backseat was like, run his drive with him on the hood, I guess. And then he goes, did he say run over him or run him? He said something, and the dude ran over him. And then there was a girl in the car and she started crying. And then somebody said, is he dead? And the dude said, hopefully. And then he had no emotion after he hit the person, no emotion. And I was like, the levels of narcissism, like literally the levels of narcissism. I'm not saying this man has a narcissistic personality disorder. I'm saying narcissism. is when you like, it's so much about you, and it's just about you, and it's just you looking at yourself, and you. And it's like you have no empathy, you don't care about anybody else. And I feel like the levels of narcissism for these streamers and people who are like consistently online, all like, what in the hell? And I was thinking, I was like, where can I go to get involved with studying the effects of streaming, social media, people being online? What is happening to human beings to where there's this like, it's the irony of being connected to so many people but being so disconnected from humanity. Like the dude did not, he ran over the person and said nothing. Hold on, let me see. Free assessment now. Okay, let me go to, where did that guy go? Hold on, hopefully I can find, I don't remember if it was on Hollywood Unlocked. Wow, it says woman who worked in psych ward for 2 years says an alarming number of female patients were driven there by men. I would love to read the comments. Let me say that, but I want to show you this guy and how he reacted. How he reacted to running this person over. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I think it was Hollywood Unlocked. Hold on. It says popular streamer Clavicular, what's his name? Clavicular, I don't know, causes outrage on social media after running over pedestrian during his live stream. Somebody said, "Is he dead?" And then he said, "Hopefully." Listen. This is after he hit him. I don't want y'all to hear that. Is he dead? I don't know. Hopefully. So the comments. Is he going to jail? Hopefully. He's definitely giving killer vibes. Did bro just commit a hit and run on live? The fact that he showed no emotion is really scary. Thank God this was filmed, so there's no denying he's guilty, as well as everyone in the car with him. Streamers are going to get so many rules changed just because they love clout. He'll get off with a slap on the wrist if we're being real. No, he's not. I'm telling you, I don't know if the person died in this situation or if the person was harmed, but anything, he could sue these people. The person that he hit can sue him, and he can be charged with a hit and run. You hit a pedestrian and you kept driving. We're not doing that. Anything for the gram. You're going to jail, my boy. Popular streamer. I mean, I don't blame him. Even though he shouldn't have been on his car, he still did that shit on purpose. Jail immediately. Someone send the update here. Didn't some lady just do that? There's response. Their response is evidence. Must have felt like it must have felt like the white thing to do. The white thing to do. I'm telling you, a black woman just ran over somebody. Her kid was in the car. And I remember when it happened, and then I think she just got convicted a few days ago. Mandeecess Harris confirms he and Yandy Smith split over a year ago and were never legally married. Okay, so let's go to the post. I hope that guy does get arrested though. Let's go to the post about the women in mental health facilities due to men driving the women loco en la cabeza. Ward for 2 years, females only. And so I worked in a mental health ward for 2 years, females only. And can I just say that most of the women I spoke to
were there due to men. Now, I'm not saying this to say men are wicked or evil. This is not one of those videos. However, it is to say, women, be wise, okay? Do not allow a man to drive you to the point of insanity. Do not allow a man to gaslight, manipulate, and send you to what feels like an early grave, okay? Know yourself. This is why I always preach, before you get into a relationship, know yourself. Be grounded in yourself. Something that I wish I was taught. But in life, when you don't know something, at some point you learn it, right? Know yourself completely so that you are whole. So that when you are entering a relationship, you're entering with someone else who is whole. And if they are not whole, you can establish that and you could choose. You make a choice to either stay and help them, even though I don't think that's the right option, or you remain by yourself until you find someone who is whole. Okay? What do I mean by whole? I mean grounded in who you are. I mean, you know who you are, you know your worth, and so someone else can't come and turn you crazy, They can't come and make you lose yourself because you know who you are. And so when you feel like they are trying to shake who you are, when you feel like they're trying to make you lose yourself, you're quick to run for your life. Run for your life. Because, again, these women, lovely women, sad stories of men who are traumatized. That's another issue, another topic for another day. These are men who protect yourself is the point. Okay.
They say a man will.
In a mental health ward for 2 years.
The first comment says, they say a man will help you lose your mind, then tell everyone you're crazy. I'm going to drive them before they drive me. Fuck that. Rule number 1, never believe a word a psych patient says. This is a man. Rule number 2, never believe a word a psycho man says. Yeah, somebody said, yes, I work in a clinic. True tea. Not surprised at all. Ladies, protect your peace. I didn't know what anxiety or depression was until I got into a relationship. This is true and dangerous. I remember one time, I thought about this the other day. I remember one time me actually saying out loud, and I probably wrote it in my journal, how when I'm in like relationships when I'm in relationship, I feel insecure. And then it was like, am I insecure, or is this person socialized to do things in order to make me feel insecure, where I'm always questioning my worth? There's two things happening, right? Like with Quad and King, the nagging. What's evident that he's nagging her is that there has been a couple of times in their interviews where she has questioned him about how she's coming off. So I'm just a bitch. Remember she said that? So you telling me I just act like a bitch? And then there was another one where she said, so are you telling me I just do this? So it's almost like I need your validation, because what you're doing as I'm a strong woman, you are pointing out and creating a question, right? And that's to break down the confidence of this woman, is for her to be constantly questioning, right? And then you get into the gaslighting. I don't know where they all meet. I don't know where they all meet. I don't know how it's possible that from one part of the globe to the next part of the globe to the next part of the globe to the next part of the globe, that so many women are having similar experiences. And the fact that you can say this, like people can come out of a mental health facility and tell you the majority of women that come in here have the root of it was a man kind of drove them to this level of wherever they are to where they need to be admitted. After that, you get people denying that. Even though medical professionals will come to the front and say, this is what it is, the men who are doing the abusing and the harming and sending the women to the mental health facilities, they're all going to come together and say, that's not what it is. Don't believe what they say, which is in line with the behavior. It's like literally textbook clinical, step by step, the behavior. And it is amazing and fantastic. It is like so amazing that women from all over have a similar story, and and the similar story with two different men who don't know each other. But when those two women share those stories, those two men will come together and say, no, it's not. That's not it. She's not telling the truth. Don't believe her. She's crazy. How many times have you been at the beginning of a relationship with someone and they start talking about their previous relationships, and what they're doing is disparaging that person, making you feel sorry for them? A man will tell you in a heartbeat, oh, I was cheated on. All my girlfriends cheated on me. Like they will tell you stuff like that. So you can feel sorry for them. And then they always tell the story that she's crazy. She doesn't know how to she didn't what is it? She's crazy. She doesn't take no for an answer. I never told her that. It's just a bunch of, he never did it. It's not his fault. There's no accountability there. There's no acknowledging that I contributed to her going into the hospital. They're never going to admit that. And there will be men in the comments that will be like this man said, don't believe psych patients. Yeah, and don't believe a psychotic man. That's rule number 2. I don't know what anxiety, I didn't know what anxiety and depression was. They will have you doubting yourself. They will have you feeling insecure. And it's funny because what they do is they go to the women who outside of relationships are very secure, very forthright, very transparent, convicted in whatever they're saying, very confident. And what they're doing is they're spotting a confident woman. Their goal is to chip at her, just chip at her, keep chipping at her. We have to, she has to be humbled. This is a woman in society who talks too much. She's too confident. She's too bold. She's too vivacious. Too many people turn their heads when she comes into a room. I have to chip away at that. And some women lose their minds, literally lose their minds. She said, yep. Here's another comment, separate comment. Yep, the most of my lows and depressive times in life came from men. It is amazing that you can read these comments and women from every part of the globe have a similar story with a different man. How is it possible that all of these women from all over the globe are having similar experiences, and yet men will tell you that these women are not having these experiences? Where do all the men meet to decide how they're going to relate to women? Where do they all learn it from? If one woman from one part of the country to the other part of the country are having the same experiences. Hold on one second. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so let's read the comments. I kind of want to this thing. I kind of want women, and I don't know where else the messaging is where women. I think because the Bible, see the Bible, because you were introduced to the Bible so early, you believe that it is how you're supposed to govern your life. And in the Bible, it tells you that your greatest threat and your oppressor is also your protector and your provider. Here we are again with some upside down information for you. There's no way in the world that under a system of patriarchy is your greatest threat also your protector. Here we are with another contradiction, right? You're supposed to run to your greatest threat for protection and provisions. And then when women are harmed in society, men will say, we only protect what is in proximity to us. And then we come with the contradiction of that within the intimate partner violence rates. When a woman's greatest threat is a man who lives in her home. Now, I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. This is not something that comes from me, oh, because she had one bad and two bad experiences. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with unlearning. And you can't unlearn it when you have been following a Bible that tells you, and then you will tell a man that he's not a real man if he's not protecting. And that's why Julia Fox interrupted Marlon Wayans, because you can't take away a man's manhood because he isn't protecting you under a system of patriarchy. That is what men do under a system of patriarchy. They're your greatest threat, your oppressor, which is why you run towards being a maid and a mule and a mattress, and even to the point where you will insult other women who aren't running in the same direction. But the Bible tells you, right? And we know that that is used to control you. You're literally running around here telling a man that he's not a real man if he's not protecting women in a system of patriarchy. Men don't protect women. They oppress them. That is why you can get in these comments and a woman in Oregon is having the same experience as a woman in Florida. A woman in Rhode Island is having the same experience as a woman in Hawaii. How is that possible? Where do these men meet to come up with the way that they are going to relate to women? Where do they get their rules? They use a father God religion for how to treat women. And a father God religion doesn't have any plans for women. Your only plan is to be submissive and a servant to who class? A man. This is why we come down here and kind of have to dismantle, pick the pieces, pick apart the pieces so that you can see the subtle programming and the subtle conditioning, right? You're like, damn, yeah. I believe, how do you believe that under a system of patriarchy that a man is supposed to protect a woman? That doesn't make sense. And literally women will tell men, you're not a real man because you don't protect a woman. But that's what a real man, that's a real man right there. That's what Julia Fox was saying. So y'all try to scapegoat and saying that's not a real man after he's done some fuck shit. That's the way to scapegoat him out. Like he doesn't belong to manhood. No, that's a real man who's making real decisions to harm women. But again, I ask, where do they learn it from? They learn it from the Bible, and then they teach you the Bible. That is the reason why the majority of your congregations are full of who? Women, because you're the ones who have to be trained. They don't. They don't have to be trained. That's why they come to church looking for y'all. And you be like, I need me a God-fearing man. He don't fear God. He don't even have any concept of a higher power. He uses it to control you. Someone says, most of y'all are putting the sole responsibility on the women. But why is barely anyone talking about how the man is not being, hold on, let me turn the brightness up, is not being a man, a true protector, physical and emotional? We just going to look over that point blank period. So we're not just going to hold both parties accountable. This is insane. And I'm not going back and forth with no one. Had that man been raised right and surround himself and get right with God to be great and to be a great individual, he wouldn't be here. And your God is the Father God, right? That's the Father God. So you're telling him to go to his father so he can learn how to be a better man. But that book that they're using on how to be a better man also tells them the best man that you can be is a man to find a woman to submit to you. And you're telling him, go read that Bible so you know how to treat me. And then when you get treated a certain way, you're like, why did you treat me this way? What you talking about? I'm just going by what they say, how you supposed to be treated. Aren't you supposed to be submissive and serve me, serve your man? And had that woman been around and raised into a stable place and know her worth and boundaries, you wouldn't be here. This is not you. She wants to hold both parties accountable, but you also have to hold the religion accountable, how it's taught, the messages that little girls and boys get, different messages, what to run to. You also have to account for your social conditioning. And part of your social conditioning is get you to practice a Father God religion so that you know how to know your place, woman. A whole bunch of both genders not doing right by themselves and messed up morals and no respect of boundaries for themselves or for others is how I call it. I bet her idea of a stable family and stable home is a nuclear family. But we have so many thousands of examples, and we can use public figures as examples. Cam Newton, Ray J, Leangelo Ball, all come from two-parent households, right? Nuclear families. And look at how they treat women. Look at how they relate to women. This man has 3 children, like just right off the bat, and abandoned both of the women. Just not doing nothing, not doing anything, and still gets the privilege of being able to live another generation through the children because they have his last name. Ray J, Cam Newton. We can just keep going. Like, so many people come from two-parent homes, and I bet her idea of a stable home is a two-parent nuclear household. And we have studies and evidence and research and reviews to tell you that that dynamic isn't always the healthiest for all parties involved. Sometimes the man needs to be out because he's not healthy. Sometimes the mother might need to be out because he's not healthy or she's not healthy. You understand? Not surprised. Women are fed a fairy tale and are presented with something else. My father prepared me from younger. I feel for those women. Respectfully, this is spacious reasoning. The intention may be good, but the logic isn't. Mental health crises don't begin in dating. They're they're usually well underway long before the relationship enters the picture. But when do you start encouraging these girls and boys to be in relationships? What are you talking about? Y'all encourage these people to be in relationships when they're children who do not know themselves, and then are watching their parents and how they or their caregivers, how they relate to other people. They're listening to music, they're watching television, they're reading books. Well, the men aren't reading books. Most of them aren't reading books. They're reading books. They're listening to songs. They're watching movies. Where are they learning this from? Starting the analysis at the end of the journey makes men an easy placeholder for a deeper origin story. Framing it this way will always resonate because it validates something familiar, but it doesn't actually help people avoid repeating the same mistakes. Starting early does. That said, I still followed because the conversation matters and I respect anyone willing to speak on it publicly. Never give yourself fully to a man. Only your kids deserve all of you. Not even then, girl. Word of the day, accountability, as in women don't take accountability for their actions and behavior. The fact that they are in a mental facility is them taking responsibility after they've accounted for being in a relationship that is causing them mental unrest. Stupid ass. A man can trigger a woman, but staying in a situation that keeps triggering you is a choice. Pain explains behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. And then people like just dismiss the fact that the stuff is like you're like being reprogrammed. All of this stuff is occurring, right? And then when the person is in the relationship, part of the reason why they don't leave is that you can't keep a man is running in their head. You can't keep a man. How did you lose your man? You understand what I'm saying? It's so many variables that happen. When you're in a toxic relationship, your brain is being rewired. That's why they go from toxic to toxic to toxic, because in their brain that's normal, that's regular. This is how I that's why I tell my kids all the time, when you say you love somebody, other people have ideas of love that aren't have nothing, they're so far away from love, but based on how they were raised and in the environment they were raised, they might have this idea where love looks like yelling and screaming at you, or hitting you, or not, or punishing you by not speaking to you and then coming back with a gift and not talking about it. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody has different definitions of love. My theory is women end up in psych wards while men end up in jail. Relationships will fuck you up. And I think it usually happens with men and women with no support. Most relationships are isolated nowadays, right? Because you guys are trying to mimic something that isn't helpful. That nuclear family bullshit, it doesn't work. It isolates people from community, especially the woman who needs other women as a resource. The way that men need women as a resource, women need other women as a resource as well. That's why when you cut yourself off from your friends, you start looking like, because that man, what he's doing is sucking your life force, and you don't have nowhere else to restore. You have nowhere else to regenerate. Where do you go to regenerate? Now you looking all lifeless, hair thin, and everything else looking crazy. You need women too, but that nuclear family bullshit that isolates women from other women. And the strictly dicklies, I girl, y'all get on my nerves because you act like you can't be friends with other women, and then you be looking crazy in your relationships because you don't trust these women around your man and all this other dumb shit. No real family or friendship connections to relationships to keep everyone accountable and supported and loved. Like, for example, when a man first disrespects you and he knows he has to answer to your father or brother if he mishandles you, that doesn't matter. Some fathers and brothers don't get involved because there are some women who, once you get involved, will turn against you, because the brain has already been rewired. Now that when somebody's trying to take you from the person who is harming you, you want to protect the person who is harming you. Your brain has been rewired. So some men do not like to get involved. That's the reason why they don't get involved, because some women, like, they'll turn I've seen it happen 100 times where somebody will try, a man and a woman are having a domestic dispute, and when somebody comes to try to help the woman, she turns against the people trying to help her to protect the person who's harming her. Rewired. That's protection, but a lot don't have that anymore. Unfortunately, things spiral in private. Of that. So it says male adult star SlyDiggler shows shows images from freak off sex tape with Diddy and Daphne Joy, claims the music mogul's penis is 3 inches. Girl, no. Okay, it says the internet is buzzing. This is from It's Only Entertainment. It says link in bio for photos. Wait, hold on a second. He says that Daphne contacted him in the DMs, and in the first meeting, she asked him to see his shawanga, and he showed it to her the first time they did a FaceTime. He said that she started to get familiar with herself, and he could tell that someone else was in the room because she kept like looking off. Then they finally met. They flew him out, and they finally met. And he says that, oh, here it is. Oh, these are photos, but I don't know where they're from. He says Diggler alleges that when plans were made to meet up, he was told a high profile boyfriend would be present, making it clear the encounter will involve more than two people. He claims he never participated in escort style arrangements before, but he believed compensation would be involved due to the status of the individuals. The adult performer says he was flown to LA, picked up by a driver. He claims he worked for Diddy and taken to the Beverly Hills Hotel. Once there, Diggler alleges he signed an NDA before entering the hotel room described as staged for a private freak-off. Diggler claims the encounter involved role-playing and Diddy was present throughout. He further alleges that Diddy shared personal insecurities during the situation, saying Sky says Diddy expressed to him that he could give his women anything in the world, but he could not satisfy them sexually. He claims Diddy's penis is 3 inches. Diggler reveals Diddy accidentally recorded part of the encounter on his phone, which he kept the footage. Diggler showed the video and related photos during the recent interview with Vlad, and says click here for the interview. So what do y'all think? Girl, what? Okay, so what do y'all think about that? This guy. I mean, what's crazy is in the picture, it's like a red lighting going on. I'm actually inclined to believe him, to believe this guy. Let's hear what some of the comments say. And Carisha was acting like he had the magic stick. We'll be hearing from the inmates soon. They'll let us know. I always used to say he has to be insecure to pay other men to hump on his ladies. 3 inches, yep, makes sense why he acts like that. He surely acts like it. Corinne Steffen said that in her video Vixen, she been said this about Diddy. Some of y'all are relating and getting mad. It's okay. Just be a good person, make good money, and use toys. You'll be fine. Oh, and buy lots of gifts. Makes sense why 50 left her out of the dock. Poor Diddy. This should be stopped. Go help him then. Go help him there, girl. All right, so Mandeecess and Yandy says Yandy and he were never legally married, and it's officially over.
Even if me and Yandy decide to break up,
Hear what Mandeecess has to say.
You in the streets, because it was like, dang, if she held him down. So even if me and Yandy decide to break up, it's no one's business but our household. Right. Right. So if you see me acting inappropriate, it's appropriate for me. It's maybe not for you, because I'm sorry you wasn't in the group chat when we decided that you know what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry you was in our bedroom when we had this conversation, and you know and that's the problem, because a lot of times these rumors, you know, we so private that we sit back and we laugh at it. And it doesn't affect us like the way it affects the public. People be like, "Oh, y'all should be more transparent. Let us know." Yeah, we gotta figure out how to let our children know. Right.
No, you guys have to just be honest from the gate about your relationship dynamics instead of trying to play this game where y'all are living in this nuclear perfect picket fence family, and we see that it's not. And yet and still y'all want to act like, and then when people see you out, because y'all are acting like your relationship is supposed to look a certain way, instead of saying, hey, we're in a relationship with each other and we are okay to be out. Because in public, society is trained to believe that when they see a man and woman, that they're in a monogamous relationship, and that they're in a nuclear setup. And so when they see you out with people's default setting is like, oh, he's not monogamous, he's cheating. Well, if you and Yandy were honest about the dynamics of your relationship, when people saw you out with another woman, it wouldn't make the blogs. Nobody would actually talk about it. We saw Mandeecess out with another woman. Him, him and Yandy got that the way the relationship is set up. So that ain't nothing. That ain't news. But because nobody understands, and part of being in a relationship, people act like it's private. It's private. It's private. No, you're in a relationship, and so when you come out socially to socialize, people have an idea of what your relationship is. And if you give a perception that your relationship is set up like this, and people see something outside of that, like he said, Mandingo said that what you think is inappropriate is appropriate for me. But I'm sorry y'all weren't in the group chat. We don't have to be in the group chat. Just be honest about your relationship dynamics and stop trying to play this role. Stop it, because then y'all look stupid. It makes Yandy look stupid. It makes Rashida look stupid. It makes all these women who are in these relationships with these what we think are monogamous relationships with single men. Now we're calling these women stupid. You don't know what you did. All this other stuff. When at the end of the day, if it was like, oh, they're in an open setup, everybody would be like, oh, okay, we saw Yandeecess out the other day and she was with so and so. You know how Yandy and Mandeecess got their relationship set up. You know how Rashida and Kirk got their relationship set up. So y'all just want us to, and I think a part of it is like you feel like, oh, I'm private, but you're a public figure. And no, you don't have to share the details of your relationship. You can share the dynamics of your relationship with an awareness that most people believe that because we are in this society, when we see a husband and wife, that we assume automatically that it is a monogamous relationship. So then when you come forward and say this is not a monogamous relationship, then everybody can be like, oh, okay, well then whatever, girl. Even though there will be some people like, you can't do that, and God and all blah, 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 and all that other stuff they be talking about.
Exactly. What's the status of you and Yandy right now? Are we not together? Y'all not together. So y'all getting a divorce? Well, we never was like legally married, so I don't know what a divorce. Like, so the rumors are true that y'all was never.
That wasn't a rumor. That was all over the end. That was everywhere. That was on the show.
Yo, listen, it was Yandy idea, right? Because in the beginning we had I was going through legal battles with courts and fines, and she said, "Let's not sign the papers," and I was like, "All right, cool," and then I guess it kind of just stayed that way. Then we got married again, and then we still ain't. Because I was about.
That was Jock about to say, I was at the wedding. That's one thing I have to give Yandy her props on, is that she did not legally attach herself to that man. You understand what I'm saying? So shout out to Yandy for that. Stop capping on an episode of Love and Hip Hop. She said she was protecting her money by not signing the papers. Right. She did. She said it. It was not everybody knew that. Follow Yandy. More women should follow what Ebony K. Williams is doing if you want to have a baby, and more women should follow what Yandy is doing. That's another thing. And I think they were honest about the dynamics of the relationship. And a lot of people shamed Yandy for not legally being attached. But then other people understood, girl, he has he owes child support. I'm not legally attached. We're two business entities. Why would I attach the business entity of me to a business entity that has debt? Girl, that don't make sense. And then when I tie myself, when we combine these business entities and make it a partnership, now I've acquired his debt? Girl, no. Yandy was smart for that. Shout out to Yandy. And if you want to have a baby, go have a baby. Put your last name on the baby. Have your babies. Have your babies. Yandy Ben said this. Once I seen Candy and Todd, I had a feeling they were next. Sorry it didn't work out. God bless them. And Candy should have never legally attached herself to Todd. Now look what she's going through. But y'all want to be married so bad. Just say you married. Just say you married. But y'all, what if something happens and I need to legally, there's other ways that you can legally, but by marriage, no. Like Megan and Clay, they over there buying property together. I hope they created an LLC if they're buying property together. Girl, why this breaking on Christmas when people are trying to be happy? Girl, you should be. Girl, shut up. We we knew they weren't legally married. Yandy said this after the wedding. Smart woman. Yep, she was very smart for that. And guess what? At the end of the day, it's their business. Next season on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Sad part, she was there for all his baggage, but then playing the role like Yandy, just like we understood they weren't married, but you changed your last name to Harris, or were going by Harris. It's like, why? Let Tamar be over there with that man. That's why Tamar was telling them they're not really together. That's why Tamar was all up in his face, looking, smashing their faces up against each other. Ugh, what is going on? Girl, British comedian LondonHughes claimed she was bullied by two reality stars while filming Eat, Slay, Love.
I just, girl, stop.
Do y'all remember that series on Peacock with Eva and Tammy Rivera and LondonHughes, the comedian, and Nivea? I remember they wanted to have a good time, and the girl from London town decided that she was going to be insulting to Black American culture, and Tammy had to get her ass together. She made a TikTok video talking about how she was bullied by two reality stars while filming Eat, Slay, Love. When have you ever heard of Eva bullying somebody? Tammy bullying somebody? No, we all saw, and I didn't I review it? I reviewed it because I was like, I didn't like the way that girl was coming off. Like, it was it was like very anti-Black, right? She said she was accused of being anti-Black, but you were, because you're not going to act like that, from across the pond, y'all don't look at Black Americans a certain way. Hell, motherfucking people from the diaspora look at Black Americans a certain way, because you have been fed a propaganda and you have ingested that propaganda. And so you say smart things and smart comments to Black Americans, and Tammy checked her ass. Now, it was so long ago, I don't remember the dialogue between the women, because it was only one season. They went to they went to Vietnam. That was like one of after I saw that, I was like, oh, I really want to go to Vietnam. It was so pretty. Remember when Nivea broke down when she saw the big gold Buddha? It was like, I remember those things, but I remember that girl being problematic, and that I think didn't she end up leaving, or she was trying to leave, and Nivea was trying to work with her and trying to be like, girl, it's okay, and trying to get them, but Tammy wasn't having, Tammy does not play. So I want y'all to hear. It says British comedian LondonHughes is speaking out about her experience while filming Peacock series Eat, Slay, Love, claiming she was bullied by two reality TV stars during production. In the video shared online, London says she reported the behavior to producers, but felt her concerns were not properly addressed. She did not name the individuals involved, but the show features reality personalities including Nivea, Eva Marcille, and Tammy Rivera. The series follows a group of women traveling abroad while exploring culture, sisterhood, and personal growth. But London says her experience behind the scenes told a different story. So let's listen to what she has to say. But when I tell you the comments is eating her ass up, because everybody, we all saw the same thing. And if you are saying that you were bullied and they edited those things out to make it seem like you were the problem, then that's a different story. Because what we saw and what was edited, we saw that you were saying problematic things, and people were uncomfortable with the way that you were speaking about Black Americans. And Tammy checked your ass. And Tammy was like, I'm not playing this game. And everybody was like, we're trying to have a good time, and you're being weird. Like, she was really being weird. But y'all have to go. It's on Peacock. You can go watch it. It's still on there. But let's listen to what she has to say.
Okay. Oh my god, my hair. Okay. Put a finger down if you got paid six figures to go on vacation and have it filmed for a TV show, and you were told by the producers that you would be going away with female comedians that you know. But when you showed up at the airport, you found out that you were going away with two reality TV stars and an R&B legend, all of which you've never met before a day in your life. Put a finger down if, while on this vacation, before the camera started rolling, the two reality TV stars started bullying you and called you a whore, a trick, ghetto, said you were anti-black, called you a Karen, said you'd fucked up.
Oh, I remember Tammy called her a trick because she was talking about buying men, and Tammy said, "Well, where I'm from, they call that tricking." Like, but basically, she was saying she called herself a trick, and Tammy gave it a phrase, gave it the word for it.
You were full of shit, and that you weren't allowed to say the N word because it wasn't your word to say. Put a finger down if you told the producers that these reality TV stars were bullying you, but they told you to ignore it and to pretend that you were all friends for the sake of the show. Put a finger down if, while filming the show, the R&B legend had your back throughout the whole thing and picked up on the bullying and supported you through it. Put a finger down if you cried every day to the producers and they did nothing. Put a finger down if one of the reality TV stars told you that there's things that you said that would get you fucked up in Baltimore, and you took that as a threat. That person then came at you in a splinter van off camera, and instead of the producers helping, they decided to film it for entertainment. Put a finger down if after that altercation you got diagnosed with adjustment disorder, which is like a lesser form of PTSD. Put a finger down if you then decided that you cannot continue doing the show because you were getting bullied and nobody was doing anything about it. So you doing anything about it. So you called your agents, and that's who you're on the phone to while you run through the streets of Vietnam to get away from these people. And your agents come and fly you back to England because you were being bullied. Put a finger down if after the show you refuse to do any press or speak to anybody from the show apart from the R&B, and you will never ever talk about this show ever again. Put a finger down if you understand that you're not a reality TV star, you have a career, you have TVs and movies coming out, you've got more to lose than any of these women, and you will not be in the comments participating and entertaining in any shenanigans. And we're done.
Well, she has a right to tell her story. She has a right to share what her experience was. I remember they did cut the cameras at one point because her and Tammy got into it. Because you have to go back and watch. You have to go back and watch it. Um, Basically, sounds like they edited it in a way that made her look like the problem. But she literally was very cringy, it was very odd how she was relating to the women, even though none of them knew each other. I think Nivea she knew Eva, and I don't think she knew Tammy or hung out with Tammy at all, and she didn't know this other woman. Read the comments. I said, I remember this and I saw it, and she was doing the most. Unless they cut out all the parts where she was being bullied, she acted like a whole entitled fool for the entire trip. She thought she was able to make off color comments and assumptions about Black Americans, and Tammy had to get her together. I ain't forgot. Another person says, I need to hear another side of the story. I'm struggling to make sense of someone randomly calling you ghetto, Karen, and anti Black for no reason. Tammy is in the comments. This whole video is exactly why they acted the way they did towards you. You saying some offensive shit while trying. Okay, hold on. Let me get back to that comment. This whole video is exactly why they acted the way they did towards you. You're saying some offensive shit while trying to disguise it as playful. Then when confronted, you want to play ignorant and the victim. She didn't say anything offensive. Tammy said, yes, she did. I was there. Not on the good Lord's birthday. That's what Eva said. Can we retire? Put a finger down. I watched that show. Nobody bullied you, babe. You did the entire most. I'm sorry, but can nobody bully me? We gonna have to get down right where we stand and dive. I had a fight at work and church. I never gave a fuck about none of it, for real. All you ever hear is good things about Nivea. I had a feeling she brought it on herself. She definitely thought she could say what she wanted, and they weren't having it. I actually watched the show. I watched it, and she was extremely offensive, and to try to cover it with comedy, she was not bullied at all. Put a finger down if you realize that she's the problem. I watched this, and they must have left things out. London was the one that came off as offensive and off-putting. Watch the full season, and I think the fuck not. She tried it though. Nah, she wasn't going to just say what she wanted to them ladies. I think there was a cultural difference. It would definitely was, but she couldn't handle being corrected about her tone and how she talked to people. Yeah, and Tammy did call her a trick because you talked about paying for men, and that's in where we're from. That's what we call a trick. Now, you might have a negative connotation of it, and it can be deemed as negative, but you paying for dick, you a trick. Girl, y'all have to watch. She couldn't handle Tammy's bluntness and played the victim. You were not bullied, you were entitled. Right. You y'all are very different these days. Grown women are getting quote bullied. I'm at the age where I can start saying back in my day. I watched the show and she's leaving out a lot of crazy stuff she said on the episodes to offend to Tammy and American blacks. Child, we watched the show and you were a try hard. Can we please leave foreigners out of our business? That doesn't make sense. Don't get xenophobic. Don't get xenophobic. Foreigners, girl, shut the fuck up. Girl, okay, I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm done. You done pissed me off, girl. All right, y'all, I'm about to go. Take care of each other. Oh, did y'all hear what Candiace had to say about Onika? Let's listen, and then we're going to go.
If I kind of felt like she was shading me a little bit. I still feel that way. But it was, I took it on the chin and kept it moving. Even after we had our little thing during the reunion and I kind of felt a way about her, I still respected her as an artist. I still lauded her as being one of the greatest in hip hop, one of the first to blaze a trail for a lot of the newer age female hip hop artists. Even with her kind of shading those who came before her and not giving them their flowers, I still felt like, okay, even with that, I still give her her credit. I officially no longer give a fuck. And she is now solidly categorized in the box of all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Tell her.
Nicki Minaj is a pick me ass, Uncle Tom ass, clown ass degenerate. And our Barbs, y'all can suck it. Because anyone who, after
suck it,
witnessing the display of betrayal by this woman who has only become who she is because of a community that she has now decided to turn her back on, betray, and stab in our fronts. I don't, it actually hurts me to have had to witness that display of monkeying around, because that's what it was. That's some monkey ass shit that she was doing up there. That I
get her, Candiace. Get her. She's absolutely right. That pretty little 5'2" woman really got the whole world in an uproar. I said, well, isn't she the queen of rap? So why wouldn't the whole world be talking about her monkeying around? Girl, don't make me call Monique. Y'all call on Monique like she's a German shepherd. You should have more respect for her. After how Nicki shamed her at the reunion, I know she couldn't wait for this moment. Everything Candiace said is valid. Y'all gonna post everyone's opinion on this matter? Absolutely. She is the queen of rap and a global icon. You goddamn right. We gonna talk about her until we get tired. The more everyone weighs in to cancel the queen, the stronger my love will get for her. Nicki Minaj will always remain the topic. Queen shit. She's been holding that since the reunion. Still mad Nicki made her sing at the reunion. Candiace has always been ready to read you down. Y'all can't cancel her because you can't stop talking about her. Ain't she with a white man though? What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Ain't she with a fucking rapist? At least he ain't that. At best, he's Giselle's sneaky link. Girl, I will beat that bitch up. You said my nigga was your sneaky link, bitch, and want to see if you was with it? I'll beat your ass, bitch. That's why they don't want Candiace back on the show, because you need your motherfucking neck wrung the other way so we can straighten them wrinkles out, bitch. Get her, Candiace. Anyways, y'all gotta go. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.